adventure or nothing at all. So my topic is origin and development of English poetry. So before beginning this topic, I would like to tell you that what does literature mean? Because poetry comes from the word literature. So basically, the real and pure definition of literature is writing that is considered to be a work of art, but it includes three things. That is novels, plays, and poetry. So what does novel mean? So basically, novels an event that are played, basically event that are played between that are not real, something that is not in the real world. That is known as novels. But what are plays? Basically, plays means dialogue between characters or work of drama or dialogue between characters. But what does poetry mean? So basically, the real definition of poetry is literature that evokes a concentrated imaginative awareness of experience. Literature that evokes a concentrated imaginative experience or awareness of a specific emotional response. But it includes three things: that meaning, sound, and rhythm. And now we are too much ahead of this topic, so we should know that who is the father of English poetry and who is the father of modern English poetry. So the father of English poetry is Sir Geoffrey Chaucer, and the father of modern English poetry is Sir T.S. Eliot, or full name is Sir Thomas Stearns Eliot. So basically, now our topic started origin and development of English poetry. So it stretches from the middle of the 7th century to the present day. It stretches from the middle of the 7th century to the present day. But over this period, some of the English poets have written most enduring poems. Some of the English poets have written most enduring poems in the European culture. Basically, they wrote in the European culture. But some of the most famous poem, that is poem Beowulf, written by Anonymous. We don't know his or her name. So when did English poetry start? Basically, when did English poetry start? So basically, the earliest form of English poetry written in Anglo-Saxon. Basically, Anglo-Saxon means Old English. The earliest form of English poetry written in Anglo-Saxon, the direct predecessor of the modern English. It was the direct predecessor of modern English, because at that time modern English was not that much succeeded, because it was the direct predecessor. And we can say that most old one was Epic of Gilgamesh. We can say that the most famous work in the epic poetry was Epic of Gilgamesh. So who was the first person to attach her name in this poetry? So Annie Nouena, but it is not a mystery anymore. Sometime if we go back, we can see that it's a mystery that we don't know the name of that person who was the first person to attach her name. So basically, Annie Nouena was the first person to attach her name in the poetic composition. But how poetry started? Basically, how poetry started? So researchers believe that the poetry started like chants and prayers or as an oral history. So basically, genres. Basically, genre means that style or that word. Basically, what you are trying to do that. Basically, I can say that films, arts, or word, that is known as genre. A type of style we can say. So basically, there are 5 genres, but Aristotle describes only 3. The 5 genres are epic, satirical, prose, epic poetry, and narrative poetry. But Aristotle only gives us about 3, that are epic poetry, prose poetry, and lyric poetry. So basically, which was the earliest form of poetry that was used? So that was epic poetry, earliest form of poetry, and the earliest form of poetry was the Epic of Gilgamesh, that dated back around 2000 BC. And the epic word, basically I am using epic word to, basically epic word come from the ancient Greek word which is known as epos, basically meaning word or narration. We can say that it's a lengthy form of poetry. Epic poetry means a lengthy form of poetry that is written and conveyed. Thank you so much.